What's going on? This is D-Boy from West Coast Uncensored. How is everybody doing today? I'm here to deliver, bring forth the second part of climbing the ladders of life and experiencing your diversity and through that. So we only got through a part of it, the first one. So this is going to be the second part to bring it completion. And where we left off was we were talking about how I think we left at the heart energy source, or the chakra, which means energy source in Sanskrit, a very ancient language from India, who brought custodian. This knowledge definitely was connected. Many other groups have too, but definitely it comes from there. And how this is energy systems. And if you think, a lot of people, oh, that's malarkey, the medical field knows. Read about it in the medical field, you can find it. They may not call it chakras because it's English, but it means the same thing as energy system. They don't teach us how to manage it. Why would they? If we knew how to manage it better, you might not be making too much. The money volume, this is about making money in this volume of all this stuff. So this is how you can manage, so you can manage yourself. You got to be the custodian of your body. You really do. This is what West Coast Uncensored. West Coast Uncensored is always going to lead you to your path, which is within you, and help you along the way. Mentorship, helping with every aspect of your life that we can help with. A little bit about myself. I haven't really talked about my past to anybody. I was in ministry, pastored for a number of years, 20-something years. Was a coach and head coach for another decade. Also worked in the mental health industry for 20-something years. So this is, so I've even taught different aspects of teaching, mentoring, coaching, and all this it's what I do, and this is why here at West Coast Uncensored it's part of it. Why I don't do the ministry that I woke up and came out and grew out of that. Actually, when I was doing ministry, for those who kind of will understand what I'm saying, I really wasn't doing, I was already out of indoctrinated traditions of men stuff, what I call them, which I know, not that I know. And actually, through my process, even doing a ministry was basic, metaphysical, a lot of revelation, allegory teaching, looking at the spirit of the word in the letter. And then when I was able to even go outside then and had even more awakening, because there was a process of years, I'd wake up to more and drop more and wake up to more and drop more, and became more and more. It was a very lengthy, I guess, in one source. In some sources, who knows time. Time is just something we put up for reference points. Beyond that, and so there's people who don't have to go through what I did to have the many other people have awakenings other ways. So, and with no religious aspect, I got a really friend I met here in another group of spirituality. He hadn't really, just very limited teaching through the indoctrination of religion. His awakening came with a family member passing away in his arm and feeling her spirit soul wind right by him, and it actually changed his life. So, but many of us who would, and my thing, I was teaching and preaching, evangelizing, established different works, and these works were not your traditional Christianity at that time. Like I said, I looked at things a whole different way, had a great awakening in 1991, yes, where I didn't see things to where I was at in the denomination I was at, and could no longer stay because I knew the truth that was given to me surpassed indoctrination that they tried to keep me in. And I, at that time, had already grabbed that. When I knew what I knew, I was not going to sell it out for that. And that process has always been what I do. To even 2012, 2013 was another jolt, and through that other jolt even got me completely out of it. Even staying out of the metaphysical realms. There are metaphysical realms, or what they call kingdom messages or revelatory messages, that are not indoctrinated in the fullness, but still, it's kind of still wandering to greater sources. It's all a journey. I haven't woke up to what my next awakening is. I'm glad for that, man. It's not boring. It's a journey. of experiences and knowledge and expansion. So just a little bit about myself. So anyways, we're going to hit on the throat since we did the four. The throat, it's called the throat energy source, the chakra. It's connected to your ability to speak your truth and your ability to communicate. Hear what I'm saying? To speak your truth and express yourself and communicate when it's flowing and working well. When there's problems with it, it could be sore throats, hampering of talking, where you can't speak, laryngitis, those different kind of things can be things that would hold you back from experiencing the fullness, because this is the pole. This is what happens, is everything has the yin and yang, that symbol of yin and yang. And like I'm going to reiterate, like I reiterated on the last video, quit looking at black and white as good and bad. And why I say that is it has nothing to do with it. It's part of what we've been indoctrinated in Western things, is that's bad because it's dark. It's not. Actually, it's connected. Darkness is light. Bingo. It is. This darkness is definitely connected to light. Actually, the first aspect of coming into the white light, you have to go through the darkness. You have to, because within that darkness is the creation of light. It is a womb. That's where that the connected into that. So, and that's what you understand. It's the yin and yang. But there's parts of you that don't fulfill maybe your past, or there's parts of you that are the negative part of yourself that you can always see yourself. You can wake up in a mood day. You can wake up in a different phase. You could wake up not feeling yourself. Like I said last time, we have these little keywords showing you how allegories work and that they're everywhere. Is that people don't say they feel like themselves, or man, look, that guy 3 sheets to the wind. Those are allegory or dark sayings that actually have a greater meaning than telling you it directly. It's a coded message. You start breaking codes, you'll understand that there's codes that that are used not so you don't know. The system uses it all the time. Politics uses it all the time. But there's an aspect of yourself that uses it for your higher self and to grow. So when the throat chakra will assist you in expressing in your truth and your feelings, and the color's blue. This is when your ability to communicate in your best part, and you'll be able to express yourself in truth and really not stumble. It'll be a flow. When it's blocked, it's an inability to communicate ideas. And the other side of all this thing, inability to express yourself of your own truth. You can't really get it out or get it over. Problems with being creative. That's what I'm telling you. This is all connected to meditation. Every time I go into meditation, there's a time part of it I have to even balance myself out, because for me, meditation does bring a creativity, but there's times I'm wanting to just be silent and have no thought. So I'm able to even to shut off the creativity and bring it back later. And this is the stuff when you can start mastering yourself, because there's times you just want the quietness, because there's something you're doing and carving in your brain, in both your left side and your right side, creating a middle path, which is for your pineal gland, which is the neutral side of yourself, because every aspect of these poles has got a neutral. And this is what I'm saying, you're in charge of it. It's been given to you as your aspect of all yourself, in the whole gamut of everything, wheels within wheels. These chakras are actually wheels. They're like discs, and they spinning, and the more healthy you are, the more they'll spin. If they slow down, you get these aspects of these problems and it can go to health. So your problems with your creativity. I'm reading some notes here. Uncontrolled or low value in yourself, self-esteem, inconsistent communication, maladaptive, deceptive of self of others, problems with neck, shoulders, and thyroid. Ooh. So yeah. So if you have these things, that could be that. Here it is, folks. You're not broken. You never are broken, no matter how low you can go. You're not broken. You may be out of alignment, and we have been out of alignment, all of us, at times, but we're not broken. Know that you're not broken. You're out of alignment. So the sixth one is called that pineal gland, that third eye. That third eye, the one that gives, that we all talk about, the third eye, even the one we see in all kinds, we see in the dollar bill, ones we see in definitely see in the talk of, we see the women from India having that little red drop, little bit of thing here, that's what it represents. We see all these aspects that give us this clue. Western society has not said they bought it because they don't know it, and their judgments, because it has a lot to do with your masters. They haven't taught you because they don't want you to know. This is access to yourself. In Western, or in the religious aspect, you go into Christianity or Judaism. Jacob went to sleep and he woke up and he realized that he seen God to God, and he said the name of that place was called Peniel or Penal. He's talking about the pineal gland because this stuff ain't literal. It's called, and that's what it's talking about, is the pineal gland, or this gland. When it opens up, you're talking about seeing that part of yourself in a higher realm. It opens you up. It's called the third eye. It's called the single eye. It's the pineal gland. You have greater insight, greater awareness, greater psychic energies, greater intuitiveness beyond even the physical realm of looking and seeing. So that's really what it is. Awareness, being part of that awareness. And that's what I was a video that I had dropped, a little short ditty that I had dropped about breath, because breath is so much connected to how breath and meditation go hand in hand, and how breath is so important for you, because if you look at the correspondence in your physical birthing into the reality, the very thing that's the most natural thing to do is breathe. Look at the aspects of needing survival. You need food. You can go the longest without food. You need water. You can go less distance without having water. Water is less, and then even less is breath is a need. And the reciprocal of breathing in this aspect of all these things is learning how to breathe in yourself. You breathe automatically. You come out of your mother's womb. You're not even taught. Little newborns breathe, and they breathe, and it just becomes, it's your nature. But as you grow, you learn how to expand something you do in nature, and then you make it a learning, and then you create a technique, and then you're starting to master your breathing, and then you're starting to fuel your whole self, and you're starting to fuel your correspondence. Listen to that video, but you'll understand when you hear it. So a big part of this is the colors indigo. Blue was the throat. I don't think I said it. If I did, I'm repeating myself, but indigo is the color. The pineal, eyesight, awareness, visibility, reaching beyond the physical realm of connectivity. Right, that's what it's doing. If it's blocked, if that part of you is blocked, if the chakra of that sixth chakra is blocked, the pineal gland is blocked, you'll have lack of creativity, lack of imagination, lack of vision, lack of concentration, and you'll get clouded intuition. And those who are operating these things know that when these things are good, and then you start seeing that they're not operating in the capacity that you've had them operated, there's the blockages there. Meditation is your power point in your life. It is. It's your power point. It is your gift to you to learn to manage you. And then you're given the tools to garner yourself, being the gardener. Notice the word gardener. When you garden, you're the husbandary, you're growing a crop. Anybody who grows plants knows the responsibility and the work that you put into, and the watchman type thing you have of taking care of the energy of plants or doing any kind of work. But here's another thing, a word that a lot of people don't notice. Check this out. In the word garden is also the word guard. So your garden, which is within you, you also got to be the guard of it. So you are the watchman of yourself. You got friends, but you have a PowerPoint that's given to you that not the government takes away, not your family, not friends. The only way it's taken away from you if you're distracted and stay outside yourself, in which it works. It's called programming. If you stay outside yourself, you will have these aspects of not knowing yourself and not activating these things, and you don't have knowledge and you live in ignorance. It just is. But these aspects of this is why all the hidden teaching of any spiritual teaching of all these different religious sects or all these different teachings is about garnering and going within. It's all about knowing thyself. It's within. Even in the doors of the temples in Egypt, it says, "Know thyself outside." Going into Masonry, they have the same sign about know thyself. It's within. That's why the joke on you is when you keep going inside the temple, because the joke is that you don't know. Because it's really telling you don't need to come in this building. Go within yourself, because that's where it's at. So that's why I did that video back when we went under this law of go home, stay home. This is what's going on. This thing we've been living in for pretty much 2 months, where everybody went home and went into their rages and went into their boredom and then fought against it and didn't realize the app is 180% that they may not meant you any good. And I know that, but I meant myself good, because I went in and said, okay, you're gonna send me home, I'm gonna go home. And it's not the building, it's not my room, it's not this house. My going home was I'm going into the place that is your home, which is within. And if you understand that, then and they helped me out. You know how they helped me out? By allowing me to go in, because I understood the game of life, but also I understood that they helped me quiet the outside by the shut-in. So I used that as leverage for myself going in, and it was actually an easy aspect to learn to go in and go in it. And the elevation it was in at this time, it was actually access. It wasn't the struggles that sometimes you can have because that outer thing is screaming and then there's a lot of noise around you. Those are all vibrations and stuff around you, and all this outer noise is coming. It was kind of deleted, and if you used it for that part in yourself, that actually helped you. Now I know there's a whole different pole of purpose why, but I'm not getting into that. Did you re-engineer? I'm talking about you have the ability, knowing these truths, to reverse engineer stuff, and you can see what somebody meant for one thing, but you can take it and mean it for the thing that pays you the dividend of yourself. So the lack of it is lack of that, lack of intuition. Ooh, they don't like that. Relying on logic, just one side of the brain, and intellect, problems with vision, problems with headaches, and nightmares. So all this stuff is the blockage of that pineal gland. Can be even in going into the physical illnesses, things, and not feeling good. Because when you don't feel good, you have the dis-ease. It's hard to do things that you need to do that even help you spiritually, or getting going, or doing anything, because it just kind of blocks that. So the clearing of it, definitely meditation. The clearing of it. If you have anything, if you know what sage is, and learn and get some and get it bundled. Native Americans do all the time. Sage is it goes interdimensionally, and it clears out negative energy. That's what it does. Yes, the people have been using it for years, and indigenous people, because they've known this knowledge has been here. It's only been hidden by Western society, because why would they want to clear their purpose? Hi. So only to clear the surface. My better half showed up. She's outside giving me a shout out and a holler. But so the clearing out of yourself, and this is where you can do the things that you need to do. Meditation, you've got to meditate, deep breathing. Implement deep breathing, learn it. I maybe do some videos on the different types of deep breathing. But it's got to come from the solar plexus, which we talked about earlier. The solar plexus, notice the word solar, I went over it before. It's the sun. If you start breathing from that, you're building your fire. That's like a fire, and those things will carry in the breathing aspect of you, create a fire, and the fire is a cleansing. So, but anyways, so that blocks it. That third eye gives you the awareness to see beyond even the dimensionals, even what's going on. When other people think they got you going on, you already see the energies behind it and what's really the deal. You can see it in different aspects where people don't see things, and you wonder why they can't see it. It's hidden in front of their face. The reason they can't see it, because they don't see like you see, because you activated something. Excuse me for this little bit of noise here. Trash trucks going by. It's just nature. It's blockages. They don't see it because they're blocked. And then the unawareness, they don't even realize they have that aspect about themselves because of blockages. And those who do learn how to maintenance it. It's like having your car, and you know your car needs some maintenance. And look at the people who know how to do maintenance of their car. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to take it to somebody who's a technician to take care of their car. Somebody who's a technician can take care of their own car, saves themselves time and money. Well, you can be the technician of your car. I can't do I'm not a technician on my car. I have to take it in and do it done. But this car is not. Nobody can do it for you. You can't find. You are actually given this to you to be also the technician, or you suffer. You don't know. You cause yourself grief and don't know some of the things that it could work, what you could do and what it do. It's because we just don't know. We are very, we've had ignorance. I've had ignorance. I'm ignorant to things I still don't know. That's why you got to be open-minded and not closed-minded. The closed-minded is like a parachute. You jump out of, if you got a closed mind, it's like an unopened parachute, or a parachute that don't open. You jump out the plane and your parachute doesn't open. It's a fast fall down, baby. And that's kind of what the closed mind is. So, the last is what everybody wants. They want that high crown, the highest crown chakra. And you want to live in that. I don't know, doubt it. But going back just a little back, the roots that we started at, all the way back, when we started at the first chakra, the sacral chakra, right, is just as important because it's your foundation. These 7 chakras, these 7 energy systems work in, this is what we want. We want to harmonize them together. Harmony is the music of the universe. And the music goes om. I said on the last one, it has an om. It has a frequency. It has a playing like the ancient Indian music. When you sing in the Indian music, see, music goes vertical. A lot of musical. The Indian music goes like this, like growing, because it's connected. The instruments and the sounds that they create, and even in the singing, were all related and corresponded with this in the ancient teaching, so that it would grow. The ladder of lights, that Indian, it climbs the ladder of lights. It feeds that energy up. It does. I actually was in a meditation from somebody from Europe who was singing and using the octaves in that, and it had the music for that, and we did a meditation with the healing principle of the chakras. This was really powerful, and I could feel it, and I could feel that energy, and I could feel clearings too. So, and when she had broke down, that's something I didn't know. See, we can learn something from somebody every day that we don't know in the aspect of ourselves that we can use as a tool from then on to push ourselves to the next level. Don't get stuck. Don't get stuck. If you get stuck, it's like a prism. You have a prism of life, because this is part of a prism. This energy system of colors is a prism. You get a prism and you kind of shine it in there, and you get the 7 colors. Beautiful of the rainbow, which is connected to the 7 chakras. If they're blocked, guess what? It's a prison, because prison in etymology goes together. It's just the 180 of the other side of it, like I'm saying. Know your angles of light. Know yourself. Know your angles of light, because is as good as it gets. 180 degrees on the other side can take you to a low place. Just being honest and being factual. Be observant of yourself. Be your technician. Look at all angles. Look at yourself. Help yourself go to the next level. Meditation key. Good diet's a key. Drinking good water's a key. great breathing is the kickoff juice to get you going. These if you want to go to this crown chakra and have that really good, stand tall. You need a good foundation at the root. It even goes into the astrological signs. Pisces, the head, the top is Aries, and the feet are Pisces. That's the whole body of the Adam Kidmon. That's the whole body. We're one body of the universal body. That's what the whole talk about, the body of Christ. It wasn't a person. It had nothing to do with a person. It was the universal body of all the collective standing up and being that. So, going into the crown gives you a deep emphasis in knowing who you really are. Enlightenment. It's violet. You have a knowing, you have a source, you know who you are, you know where you're at. You have no doubt. You're reigning from there. That's why it's called a crown, which is also this whole thing of corona means crown, right? I don't know if you know that, but it does. Corona means crown. So you have that crown. It connects you. That's why it's violet. That's where the copy of kings and queens are copying it from this. It's a copy from the universe. Everything's done from that fragment of light to make it even physical. It's a connection. It's an enlightenment. That's when you even start knowing deep self. That's where you start having these moments of enlightenment to who you are and to every aspect about yourself and the reflection of it. You're kicking it in your chakra. You're knowing. You're in this place. You're knowing that place. And the color of it is violet. And you know it. It's an enlightenment of knowing that you know, and nobody could ever take that away from you when you experience it. That's why experiences and knowing is so much credible than believing, because you can believe that a lot of different stuff and then it doesn't even relate to common sense, but you believe it, but it doesn't have any common sense. So, but knowing is really the aspect of where we're at now in the change in 2012, because something else was birthed called a new age, and the foundation of that new age is knowing, and you got to know yourself. That's an old ancient teaching, and that's where it all God. Let that very presence of universe, God, or whatever goes through you, and that's an old teaching. Only in the last few years has it been kept as something outside of us. And from what I see from all these years of having all kinds of different teachings and religions, if it worked outside of us, man, we'd have people being out flying, doing all kinds of stuff. But all I see when I look outside of myself, in that spectrum of that spectrum, through that prism, I see a prison of a bunch of coercion and something that nobody can get it together. And division. So that outside principle, I just don't see it, how it doesn't. It's never brought value, because if all the outside things did, this would be just a cakewalk, but it's not. So the outside things haven't brought it, because it's within you. It's within you. It's not outside of you. It's within you, the foundation, and it's connected to you, and is you. Take it even to another part, because you can't get disconnected from the part of you that's all. So anyways, so when you know this principle, and that grows in this, all these chakras grow in every aspect of, from the very aspect of the things they do for you, and they help you. And and here's another thing, what through this, so that's the positive. What could be the negative things of the crown chakra when somebody's got it blocked? Spacey, ungrounded. And that's what I was talking about, that you have to ground yourself. You can't just live in your crown chakra and not realize that your root chakra is part of your grounding. Your feet, that's why the word feet is ground. Actually, what is the bottom of your foot called? Think about it. What is it called? What do we call the bottom of your feet? It's actually two aspects. Being an athlete, one aspect is when we would talk about getting an athletic position, we'd say stay on the balls of your feet. Another aspect is that the sole of your feet. Ooh, if you don't know that, think about it. The sole of your feet connected to that root chakra, because it is a feet. Even the sign of Pisces represents the feet. So it would keep you ungrounded, impractical, indecisive, difficulty with finishing things, and no common sense. Wow. I see that all over the place. I see that even as a system has kind of severed that tail of memory and who you are, which would go to this. That's why now I know why common sense is left. It just hit me. Because I've been saying that for a while, because I always looked at, I had this like understanding that if everybody had common sense, and sorry for this and all this noise, but don't worry about it. I'm going to do it. This is natural. You heard me. It's natural. So I'm out enjoying doing this video outside today. Common sense. Why is there no common sense? I've been knowing that for a while, because I would look at different aspects of people, right? And I would look at it and say, this is an aspect that they took from us because they disconnected. I even said they disconnect your tail, like tails represents balance. So people don't know their story, so they can take on his history, which is his story, which is the system story, so they don't know their story. And this makes sense to me. You don't have common sense. That was a deletion. When you don't know, you don't have common. And then I always looked at it, because when I hear the word common sense in etymology, I see that no matter what your culture would be, no matter where you would be from another place, you might have cultural differences, might have different aspects of different things you do differently. But if there was a common sense, that would connect to that would connect to everybody if you had the common sense, unless you don't. So this would take away your kingship, and your crown would be connected in a blockage of the common sense, right? Wow. Depressed, alienated. Like I was looking at alienated. When you understand certain things, you're never alone. As much as people can get into loneliness, you got to when you realize that your breath is next to you and who you are is within you, and sometimes you can take that loneliness and that empty place of not being alone and reverse it and go inside, and you'll find out you got a ray of the whole universe in there, so you won't be alone. And breath is right next to you from the beginning. If you have your breath, you're not lonely. You turn the loneliness into a lioness. Depressed, alienated, confused, cut off from spirituality, plagued by sense of meaningless or delusional, grandiose problems with the brain, even mental illness. And mental illness, I definitely can see. No, that's that's connected. And I kind of knew that chakras are broken with people. And I've been knowing that because I've worked in the mental health field for a while, that there's not a grounding of their chakras. I knew, because they would say things, especially on certain illnesses, that I go, that's truth. But then they were never grounded to come out of what they were saying to do, to have a, something go into it, that common sense, or that where we can. You got to be able to ground too, because you're in both. You have the access to multiple dimensional places. You're not just stuck in one place, but you got to be grounded. And hard to ground. Wow, that makes sense. So this, even when I see ungrounded, that would mean that crown chakra has to connect back to the first one, which is about being on the ground. See how this is all connected? This is not division in your body. This is connected. That the crown has to have the connection all the way. This would be the cable, like in the Kabbalah, because that's what it means, cable, from the first to the last, from the A to the Z, from the seventh to the first. It's grounding. I'm just getting revelating on this as I'm speaking. So see that. Meaningless, delusional, grandiose. That's heavy. That's really heavy. I can see that. You brought it out clearly in some of my little thesis I was seeing, and seeing how to put that together. This really kind of put it together for me. It makes sense too, for what I was seeing, to put it together. But anyways, there's two aspects that not many people talk about that are sandwiched. That the chakras are like a wheel within a wheel, and they're a disc. And if you've ever seen a disc, if you've ever had disc, and which you have, go look at your disc, and they're sandwiched. And you put the disc on the pole, right? Your CDs or your disc, and they go on the pole, like your disc. Your disc are up here in your neck. Your discs go down your spinal cord. This disc, that's where all these energy spots are, right? They're connected to it. Visible medically. They know it. I've read it in medical books. I just was looking it up medically earlier today. They know. In fact, they really know, and they really are tell you they know that they didn't. They'll even say, we didn't know much about the pineal gland, except that if somebody had a tumor, we understood that gland in the middle, that third eye, that pineal gland would actually, wherever the tumor, if the pineal gland left heavily one way, we knew that was a tumor in that area on that side that it went to. And then they said that's what it was. And now they're saying, oh, we understand that it's connected to secretion and melanin and all that. The ancients were telling us thousands and thousands of years ago. Who's bringing new knowledge? Yeah. But anyways, but here's the aspect that something I've been working on, but understanding this also has to be within a pole, your chakras. And there's two poles that I think and I see that it's between. A dark or black pole, what we call black, and the white pole. Because these two poles would be like the North and the South Pole. They would have magnetic energy on each side of these, like a accordion, because these are like accordions. They can fold in and out. Breathing in and out would be what you don't see is the black and the white. Black light, white light. Like I said, get off the kick that darkness is evil. It has nothing to do with that. That's just been a mindset of colonization. Yep, exactly. Black and white. Those poles are opposite poles, but those poles are there to balance the colors in between. So this was number 2, and I'm going to bring this out more because there's some things, this kind of a thing I got going on, but I'm going to dig a little deeper because I do have some things that I will bring out when I get on these poles, because the poles are all in nature. It's all in nature, and your observance of yourself, the observance of the cosmic clock. You're seeing all this. You're seeing it in astrotheology. You're seeing it when you go within and you see the aspects of yin and yang in yourself from the other side. As you know, different signs will have every different signs. If genealogy is another thing I'm working on, which is a numerology, a Yodish numerology that I'm really got into. And I'm a member. I do definitely go to Savan Bomar's University into that school, and that's mind blowing. Even I'm just like, I love it because it takes me to a different level. And sometimes I'm reaching to get my mind around things that I do witness, do feel, and do know, but to process it to the understanding I'm working on. But this is D-Boy. This was part 2 of Climbing the Ladder of Lights. You guys have a great day.